Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How you doing today? Michael Zuber with One Rental at a Time, and we are back with the one and only legendary investor, Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm great, Michael. So good to be back with you.
Oh, this is so much fun. I love our conversations. I just feel better when I'm done with them. It's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, me too.
Hey, well, I know we both know and appreciate and respect a investor. Her name is April Crossley. Crossley. She's out on an RV trip around the country right now. Talk about a great life. Good for her. But I follow her on Facebook. She always is. She talks my language, right? She's just like, this is the way it is. And she put out a post yesterday that I want to read to you because I think it's an attitude that people need to check themselves on. But here it goes. Basically, this is a comment on her YouTube video. It says, "I love your videos and your lessons, but the more I see and pay attention, it's not worth it. Too much crap to do for a little bit of cash flow. I make more money per month going to work. This is a huge headache. Thank TBH. I don't know what that is. I need money today, monthly for my kid, and not later." And then April goes on a tirade. But I wanted to talk about that comment because, I don't know about you, but when I started, I had a kid. And I was thinking about the future, not the moment. So there's just so much in that comment that rubs me the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, me too. So, first of all, yes, April is amazing. We are good friends, and we did a women's meetup group here locally together for a while in Pennsylvania. And she is living life on her terms. She's
Yes,
RVing across the country and running her business from there and is just doing an amazing job. So, kudos to April for that. Also,
absolutely.
just in regard to the comment, this is a matter of a comment that's based on lack of education for what's really possible. It
Mhm.
really is because while it is true that oftentimes if you can make $200, $300 per door, that's doing pretty good in most markets
Mhm.
throughout a typical market cycle. But there's so many things that number, that dollar per month, doesn't really tell you, right? And the first thing is, how much of your own money are you using, and what is the cash on cash return you're making for that dollar? If I can go in and buy a property with no money down and I make an extra $200 a month, that's enough to pay for my kids' school lunch for the month,
Yeah.
right? So it's something. It moves the needle to increase your means while you work to live below your means, which we talk about all the time. So the first is, what's your actual cash on cash return, and is some increase better than none? Another thing she said was, it's not worth the headache. And that's very much also a matter of, how do you set up your business? Are you setting it up to where you're the one managing that property and you're the one having to go while you're working and raising a kid as a single mom to
Mhm.
deal with a plumbing issue? Then yes, it may not be worth $200 a month to you. But if you set it up with the proper systems in place and you buy it right at a good price point that allows you to have it with a property management company, your time and your headache is significantly reduced. And most people can make $200 a month per unit, fully managed
Mhm.
and pretty passive. So that's just the first two thoughts that I have. We can talk about more.
Yeah. Again, we both you and I spend a fair amount of our time after we did this helping others, right? And one of the first things I'm looking for in a brand new conversation is where their mindset is.
Yes.
And it's amazing how many times I can tell someone if they come in with kind of a negative attitude, like the world's against me, I can't do this, it's too hard, no deals, just all the negative sayings, versus the other folks going, I get it, I'm excited, I want to try, I'm willing to do the work, nothing can stop me. And that's one of the reasons I created this contest we haven't talked about. I created this on did we talk about this? I did this on June 1st.
No.
Yeah. So one of the things I tried to do middle of the year is kind of figure out if I'm making a positive impact, right? I spend a couple hours 7 days a week creating fresh content such as this. So I looked back over the 18 months I've been doing it, and I did about 162 deals. I helped people close 162 deals. I'm like, I don't know, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. But I was thinking about what could we do? So my first thought was, hey, can we do 1,000 in a year? I'm like, that's probably too big. But I said, let's try to do 500. So from June 1st to May 31st of 2022, I'm trying to see if I can help people do 500 deals, all because of this.
Awesome.
And oh, by the way, after 35 days, we're already at 66. So
Wow.
pretty cool. But the whole idea is people need to think about what's possible, right? If you just come at this with I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to work. Yes, it's hard. Yes, there are headaches, but it's worth the effort. I mean, go back to episode 1, folks. If you haven't realized it's worth the effort yet, you're not paying attention. If go follow April Crosley, she's traveling across the country in a freaking RV because she wants to, right? I mean, come on. And oh, by the way, as April says in her note, she was a single mom as a teenager, and she made it work, right? It's about understanding what's possible, doing the work, sacrificing, not having a defeatist mindset, and just getting after it. How bad do you want it? I mean, if you want to work 40 hours for 40 years and sit on the couch on the evenings and weekends, go for it. Just don't tell me you want this other thing, because you can't have both.
Right. And the other thing that people don't think about, right, is what's possible, not just that I can get $200 a month once and that's not worth it because I can make more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this person makes, but let's say you make $3,000 a month. Let's say you make $4,000 a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you're working 160 hours a week or a month to make $4,000, that's not a significant amount of money. It's maybe $50 an hour if I'm thinking my math, quickly off the top of my head. If I can go out and make $500 an hour, if I can spend 30 minutes a month managing my properties, which I can if they're property managed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm making so much more money on my time that allows me to buy a bunch of those units that are going to buy me $2,000 a month, that I'm not going to have to work 40 hours a week forever to manage. I'm proof positive that I started out with zero, zip, nada, nothing, working full time. And I bought one rental at a time, just like you did. And it took a decade, but in a decade, it created a multi-million-dollar net worth. It's allowed me to travel a month this last month with my family without really having to worry too much about what I'm spending as I'm going. And it's because I did get started with that one rental at a time. So, you're not thinking far enough and big enough. You're just thinking, oh, this one property that somebody had, I saw on Facebook that it was a nightmare and they lost money and it's not worth it to me, rather than what is really possible and what do I need to do in order to make it to where it is worth it for me, right?
Yeah.
One of those things too, we talked about the cash on cash return, but can you buy a property in such a way that you can force equity and force the ability to grow your net worth instead of just that cash flow? So for example, if you buy a single family house that needs some work and you fix it up, maybe you put $10,000 in it and it's worth $40,000 more. Well, if I can make $200 a month, but now I've created $40,000 of equity that I can go and take 75% of that, take $30,000 and put that down on my next property. For $30,000, I can buy a couple doors that'll give me another $200 a month. So that one property that's bringing 200 has the potential to bring me $1,200 a month by doing a little bit of work, by buying it below market and forcing that value increase. And so that's a huge piece that's missing from that. Oh, it's only $200. We grew wealthy by buying those exact type of properties where we had meat on the bone. We bought them distressed. We put in the sweat equity. We didn't buy it turnkey and no headache, but the headaches, I can tell you, were worth it. And having worked in investments for over 20 years with very, very wealthy investors and working in real estate and coaching people and seeing what's possible, there is nothing like rental real estate to create wealth today and to help you to sustain it and live that lifestyle. A job will never, ever do that for you. It's just not going to.
It's funny. I was just, while you were going through that, I was thinking about that first house on Norris Drive, which I actually write about in my book, right? Because the first tenant turned out horrible. But when you really paint the picture of Norris Drive, what was it for me? So I bought it. I put 20% down because I didn't know any different, right? I didn't know. I thought you always had to put 20% down. But, let's just round it. Let's just call it 20 grand because it was 107. So it was slightly more. But so let's call it 20 grand. 3 years later, that one house, which cash flowed about $200 until I did a cash out refi, and then it was negative. Again, don't do that. Then I sold it. I 1031 into, first the cash out refi. That cash out refi, although it turned that house negative, bought me 2 more properties.
Yes.
Then I sold the negative cash flow because that was stupid. And I got a 5-unit building, which I still own today. Those 2 other houses I bought with the cash out refi, which was recycling capital, no new capital. I got all my money back and some. That became I think that bought my 13. I think both of those bought my 13 units. So that one house that you're so upset about making $200 turned into 18 units over, I don't know, a 6-7 year period. And those 18 units, I don't know, several $1,000s. And oh, by the way, fast forward to where we are now, it's probably $700,000-800,000, all because of a $20,000, $200 cash flow. So think bigger, folks. This one rental at a time thing is not a day in time. It's a journey. It's a process. It's chess. You are in it for a decade. You set up your debt structure so you can hold it through ups and downs. It's an amazing thing. But if you don't want to do the work, good news. This is America. You don't have to do the work. You don't have to do this. But if you want a better future, like we've described and April is living, it's amazing.
Absolutely. And the other thing I would just throw out there is start hanging out with people that are going to encourage you, who are actually doing it and who are doing it well, not the people that are, oh, buying this one property was the worst thing I ever did. I hate being a landlord. I can't wait to get out of it. Because if that's who you're listening to, you're going to be psyched out from doing it before you experience the positivity and the joy that really comes.
Yes.
Talk to the people that are living it. Talk to the people that are successful, that say, hey, through all of the journey, all the blood and sweat and tears through decades, would I do it again in a heartbeat? It is worth it.
Yes. Yeah, you were so right. Get around positive people. That's one of the things. Actually, you're a part of my group, the One Rental at a Time Works group, which I created just because I wanted a place for FAQs that I thought I'd get asked. Now it's morphed almost 1,000 people thinking the right way, networking. I'm so glad I created that. And I'm not a social media guy. So a private Facebook group just for our students doing the work. It's pretty awesome. So yeah. So do yourself a favor, folks. If you want to see what lifestyle is all about, follow April Crosley on Facebook. And I think her YouTube channel is awesome. I follow it. It's Lazy Girl REI. I believe that's what she calls it.
Yeah, that's right.
So really cool. So Anna, how can people follow you? Because you're doing amazing stuff both on Facebook and also Greater Purpose Capital.
Great. Thanks so much. So Anna REI Mom is my Facebook page. REIMom.com is my website for coaching and speaking. And Greater Purpose Capital is my website for investors interested in making passive income, where you don't have to do the work yourself to manage properties, but we create the income for you by buying properties that are cash flowing, and really with a focus on making a positive impact on the communities and the residents in which we invest.
Yeah, folks, do yourself a favor. Go check it out. It's amazing on multiple fronts, not only the income, but also the impact. And that's what Anna and I are all about. It's the impact as we go forward for the next 50 or 60 years. So thanks, Anna.
Thank you.